Hey everyone, this is attorney Michael Mills with the Injury Assistance Network, the only network you need when you've been injured in an accident. Hey guys, I have a huge favor to ask. I need your help to get to 1,000 subscribers. Now, we're a long way off from that right now, but I know that will soon change with your help. I want to thank you guys for the thousands of views that we've been getting so far, and I want to please ask that you subscribe to the channel. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, on to what I'm really here to talk about. So one of the most popular questions that I get as an attorney is, how much is my case worth? Now, I don't usually answer that question because unless the injury is open and obvious and I already know the policy limits, it's impossible to tell. And by open and obvious, I mean that the victim has some varying degree of a significant and serious hard tissue injury. But even in those cases, the settlement value is limited by the policy limits of the person that caused the accident and injury, or the limits of your uninsured motorist coverage. For the purposes of today's video, I'll discuss injuries that aren't so open and obvious and how to go about building those cases in a way that maximizes their value. While there's no specific formula to determine what amount you will get, there are a few things that are important for any high value settlement. First, the accident. Now, although the accident doesn't have to be one that the vehicles are completely destroyed, they're laying in a ditch somewhere, they do have to be pretty banged up. The worse the damages to the vehicle, the higher the value to the case. Now, secondly, bodily injury policy or the uninsured motorist coverage policy. Remember, you're limited by the amount of money available on the insurance policy, theirs or yours, no matter how badly you're injured. And finally, and in my view, most importantly, your injury. Now, your injury and the treatment that you get for your injury is the most important thing when it comes to the evaluation of your case, in my humble opinion. That's why we'll be discussing which types of personal injuries typically receive larger settlements and the reasons behind that. The settlement or a jury award that you receive usually depends on your ability to show the severity of your injuries. To assess your claim, insurance companies divide your injuries into two broad categories: soft tissue injuries and hard tissue injuries. Now, typically, soft tissue injuries would often receive smaller personal injury settlements. Why, you ask? That's because insurance companies don't usually consider these types of injuries as serious and life-changing. They believe that the pain that you feel is temporary and that you'll be back on your feet and healthy within a few short months. Now, in the past, soft tissue injuries were harder to prove because they were subjective and couldn't be quantified by the medical reports. So, for example, let's say you suffered whiplash in a car accident. You feel stiffness in your neck, you're having headaches, you're fatigued, you're dizzy. The problem was, how do you prove those symptoms? A doctor couldn't really diagnose that your neck is, for example, 60% more stiff after a car accident. They were basically relying on your word and your description and your history of the injury that you're feeling this pain and discomfort. This didn't mean that the victims of soft tissue injuries were lying about their pain. It just meant it was much harder to medically verify their suffering. And insurance companies knew that, and they used it to their advantage. They understood that if your injury claim ever went in front of a jury, they could easily argue that you were simply faking your injuries, and as a result, most soft tissue injury victims would receive lower settlements. On the other hand, hard tissue injuries are visually more severe types of injuries. You can see that a bone is broken or a limb is missing. You can see that they cause the extreme discomfort and significant amount of pain and suffering. These injuries would typically receive larger settlements because you can more readily show that they have had a substantial impact on both your current and future lifestyle. Now, these injuries could easily be documented by your doctor and thus easier to prove in court. Now, fortunately, this isn't where the story ends for soft tissue injuries. Advances in medical technology and treatment and reporting now allows doctors to objectively prove that a soft tissue injury exists and it's causing pain and discomfort. An MRI is just one of those many tools that they use to objectively show a soft tissue injury exists. Once that's determined, then treatment is also important. Treatment ranges from conservative care like chiropractic therapy to pain management injections to surgery, depending on the severity of the soft tissue injury. The more invasive the treatment, the higher the value. The more invasive the treatment, the higher the medical expenses. And all of those things are what goes into the evaluation of your case. Now, while there's more things involved in this than what I've stated, this is just an overall summary on how to maximize your settlement